Hey everyone, how's it going? Okay, before I start this story that you're not going to believe, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Charles. I'm 42 years old, been married to Fernanda for 15 years, father of Michael and Sophia, and I've been working as an Uber driver here in West Chicago for about 4 years now. Man, I've seen some crazy stuff in this job. I've picked up drunk people crying over their exes, folks running away from home, people making deals in my back seat. But what I'm about to tell you today, guys, tops everything I've ever witnessed in my life. It was on a Saturday, October 15th. I woke up early, around 6 a.m., had my black coffee that Fernanda made, gave her a kiss and said, "Honey, I'm gonna work until about 8 p.m. today. Need to make some extra cash for Michael. He wants that video game console, you know?" She just nodded and said, "God bless, sweetheart. Just don't forget lunch and drive carefully." I grabbed my silver 2018 Corolla, my baby, which I take care of like it's my own child, and headed out to work. The day was beautiful, sunny Saturday, light traffic. I was even humming some country songs in the car. Started doing rides right there in Lincoln Park, Did about 3-4 rides in the morning. Normal stuff. A lady to the mall, an elderly man to the doctor, nothing special. Then around 11:30 a.m., I'm there in the Gold Coast area, where good rides usually come from. You know, people with money who tip well. That's when I got that ride. Request that would completely change my day. The mysterious call. Listen, folks, I always check the passenger's rating before accepting, right? 4.9 stars, over 200 rides. I thought, perfect, good customer. I accepted right away. The address was on a fancy street in Gold Coast, one of those huge houses with electric gates and everything. When I arrived, I could tell it was different from normal rides. First impression of Patricia, a woman came running out of the house, literally running. Folks, she was elegant as hell. Black business dress, high heels, perfect straight blonde hair, flawless makeup. Must have been about 35 years old, beautiful, well put together, like those women from primetime TV shows, you know? But the weird thing was her rush. She opened the car door kind of desperately and said, "Hi, good morning. Please, can you be quick? I'm super late." I looked in the rearview mirror and saw she was nervous as hell. Her hands were shaking a little, and she wouldn't stop, checking her phone like obsessively, you know? Every 10 seconds she'd look at the screen. The first red flags. "Where are we going, ma'am?" I asked, always polite. "Oh, it's a restaurant downtown. Let me check the exact address here," she said, frantically scrolling through her phone. While she was searching, I noticed something strange. She had 2 purses, a small handbag, very chic, matching her dress, and another bigger one, like a shopping bag, that she was holding hidden from my side. "Here it is," she said, showing me her phone. The Capitol Grill on North Dearborn Street. I knew the place. Expensive as hell restaurant, one of those where the cheapest dish costs $80. I thought, this woman has money. During the trip, I left Gold Coast heading downtown. Traffic was okay for a Saturday, but she couldn't sit still in the backseat. She kept fixing herself up, applying lipstick, spraying perfume. Man, the car smelled like Chanel for a week after. Then, when we were around the Magnificent Mile area, her phone rang. She answered quickly. "Hello, honey." Her voice completely changed, became all sweet. "You know? Hi, my love. Sorry, I'm almost there. Had a little problem at home, but I'm on my way now." "What do you mean? What time is it?" "Oh no, Fernando, I'm really sorry. I know you don't like waiting. It's just that my mom called with an emergency. No, she's fine now. Yeah, 10 minutes max. I promise. I love you too, my future husband." My future husband? Dude, when she said that, I almost crashed the car. I looked in the rearview mirror and she had the biggest lovesick smile. I thought, oh, how sweet. The woman is going to meet her fiancé. But then I noticed something. She lied about being late. There was no problem at home. No mom emergency. She simply left late. Why lie to her fiancé about something so trivial? The transformation in the backseat. Folks, what happened in the next few minutes was surreal. This woman completely transformed inside my car. She opened that bag I had noticed and started taking out a bunch of stuff. Another lipstick, another perfume, even a different little jacket. Changed her lipstick from red to pink, changed perfume, threw the jacket over her dress. "Sorry for the inconvenience," she said, noticing I was watching. "It's just that I like to always be impeccable for important meetings." I just nodded and said, "No problem, ma'am. Make yourself comfortable." But inside I was thinking, what weird stuff is this? The woman is getting ready like she's going to another date. Arriving at the restaurant. When we arrived at the Capitol Grill, I saw an elegant man waiting at the door. Business suit, well-cut gray hair, expensive watch on his wrist. One of those $20,000, $30,000 ones. Must have been about 45 years old, handsome, typical successful businessman type. She got out of the car and he came running with a bouquet of pink roses. My love, I thought. You had stood me up, he said, giving her a big kiss. Never, Fernando. You know you're the most important thing in my life. She responded, all sweet. I'm sitting there, waiting for her to pay for the ride and listening to this whole conversation. The man, Fernando, seemed completely in love. He kept kissing her hand, caressing her face, payment and first suspicion. She paid for the ride through the app and even gave a $10 tip. Before closing the door, she said, thank you so much. You were great. But when she said that, she looked at me in a strange way, like with a forced smile, as if she was afraid I had noticed something. I just said, you're welcome, ma'am. Hope you have a great lunch. And I left. But curiosity. Dude, I should have gone on with my life, done other rides. But something about that situation made me curious. You know when you feel something's off? The lie to her supposed fiancé, changing perfume and lipstick in the car, that weird look when awkward look when saying goodbye. I don't know. My driver's intuition, which gets sharp after 4 years in the business, was telling me something was wrong there. So I did something I normally don't do. I parked the car on a nearby street and decided to stay in the area. I thought, I'll do some rides around here and see what happens. End of the first act. Folks, if I had known what I was going to discover in the next few hours, I would have run away from there. But curiosity got the better of me. And that's when the craziest story I've ever witnessed in 4 years of Uber began. You're not going to believe what this woman pulled off for the rest of that Saturday. Folks, now things are going to start heating up. So, like I said, I stayed in the downtown area doing some rides. I picked up a gentleman on Michigan Avenue, took a lady to Water Tower Place. But listen, I won't lie to you. My head was on Patricia and this Fernando guy. You know when you feel something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on what it is. That's exactly what was happening to me. 2 hours later, around 1:30 p.m., I was parked right there on North Dearborn Street, waiting for some ride to pop up when I see some strange movement at the Capitol Grill entrance. It was her, Patricia, a dude. She was coming out of the restaurant alone. Where's Fernando? I thought maybe the guy went to the bathroom or went to pay the bill. But then I noticed she didn't have that lovesick smile anymore. She seemed kind of I don't know tense, walking fast, looking at her phone, nervously running her fingers through her hair. The second ride, the plot thickens. You won't believe this. My phone rings with a new ride request. I look at the location. Exactly there at the restaurant door. It was her again. Folks, I swear I thought about not accepting. What a weird coincidence, right? But curiosity got the better of me. I accepted the ride. I pulled up to the door and she got in kind of hurrying. Hi, remember me? You brought me here earlier. Of course, ma'am. How was lunch? I asked, trying to seem casual. Oh, it was great. My fiance's a sweetheart, she said, but the smile was forced as hell. The suspicious call. We'd barely left the restaurant and her phone rang. She looked at the screen and made a face like she didn't want to answer, but she did. Hello? Dude. Her voice completely changed again. Became all affectionate, sweet. Hi, baby. How are you, my love? Sorry. I didn't call earlier. Had a work problem. Yeah, I know it's Saturday, but you know how executive life is, right? Unhung. A dash, huh, ... Of course I miss you. Can't wait to see you. I almost laughed out loud. Work? The woman had just left a romantic date with another guy. The second transformation. While she was talking on the phone, I noticed in the rearview mirror that she was doing the same thing as before, messing with that bag, taking things out, reconfiguring herself. ... Okay, my champion. I'm almost there. Love you so much, okay? Bye, champion. Dude, 2 hours ago she was calling Fernando my future husband. Now there's a champion? Sorry, she said to me. can you take me to Lincoln Park Zoo? It's urgent. Lincoln Park Zoo in Lincoln Park, about 15 minutes by car. The complete metamorphosis. Folks, what I witnessed in my backseat was worthy of a science fiction movie. The woman completely transformed. First, she took off that business jacket she had put on. Then she pulled out a sports top from the bag, one of those gym ones, really tight, that shows off the body. Ma single quotes M ... I said kind of awkwardly, do you want me to stop so you can change? No, it's fine. I'm quick, she replied, continuing the transformation. Then she let down her hair, which was in an elegant bun, made a ponytail, changed her high heels for white sneakers, wiped off the dark lipstick and put on a lighter one like gloss. In 10 minutes of traffic, the chic executive became a fitness girl, arriving at the zoo ... When we arrived at Lincoln Park Zoo, she got out all changed. I was shocked by the transformation, but what blew my mind even more was what I saw at the zoo entrance. A muscular tan guy, one of those who works out 3 hours a day, was waiting for her at the entrance. Tank top, gym shorts, snapback cap. Typical personal trainer, you know? And folks, when she saw him, it was like a switch turned on inside her. The explosive encounter. She went running, literally running, and jumped into the guy's arms. Diego, she screamed, jumping on his neck. Patty, he screamed back, spinning her in the air. And then, man, they kissed right in front of me. A soap opera kiss, one of those where the camera spins around, lasted about 30 seconds. I'm sitting there in the car, parked, mouth open, trying to process what was happening. The declarations of love ... After the Hollywood kiss, they stood there hugging and talking loudly. I heard everything. Missed my champion, she said, caressing his chest. Wow, my love, you're even more beautiful. This fitness look is perfect on you, he replied. It's for my hottest boyfriend in Chicago, she said, giving him another kiss. Boyfriend? Dude, 2 hours ago she was with her fiancé at the restaurant, Diego, the personal trainer. From what I could hear from the conversation, they were talking loud. The guy's name was Diego. He was about 28 years old, was a personal trainer and nutritionist. Gym body, deep voice, kind of playboy attitude. Let's go to the aquarium, princess. I bought tickets for the 2 p.m. show, he said. Of course, my love, but first give me another little kiss ... Quotes, she asked, all melted. And there they went again with another kiss. The third ride scheduled. Before they went into the zoo, she came to the car. Hi, can you wait here? Or better ... can you come back here around 5 p.m.? I'll want another ride. 5 hours? What was this woman going to do for 5 hours at the zoo with a personal trainer? Sure, ma'am, I said, still processing everything. But will it be a long ride? I don't know yet, but it might be. Do you take long rides? I do. Perfect. See you at 7 p.m. then. The second payment. She paid for the second ride through the app, gave another tip, this time $15, and said, thanks. You're a very discreet driver. I like that. Discreet? Why was she worried about discretion? My improvised investigation. Folks, I know. It wasn't my business, but you have to understand. In 4 years of Uber, I had never seen anything like this. A woman who in 2 hours left a date with a fiancé businessman completely transformed in my car. Went to meet a boyfriend personal trainer, scheduled a third ride for the evening. I had to know what was going on. So I did something I had never done. I parked the car near the zoo and decided to take a walk to stretch my legs. What I discovered at the zoo ... I went into Lincoln Park Zoo and discreetly looked for the couple. It wasn't hard to find. They were at the food court, sharing a smoothie, laughing loudly, doing those lovey-dovey couple things. Diego wouldn't stop posing, showing off his arms, being silly, and she was completely obsessed with him, running her hands over his arms, complimenting his physique. Oh my love, you're getting hotter every day. I heard her say, it's for you, princess. Everything I do is thinking about impressing you. He replied, kissing her hand. Dude, they looked like honeymooners, going into the aquarium. After the smoothie, they went to the aquarium. I saw them entering a show that lasts 2.5 hours. That's when I was sure this woman was going to be busy until 7 p.m. My conclusion so far ... I went back to the car with my head spinning, trying to organize the facts. 1. Fernando, businessman, 45 years old. My future husband, fancy meeting at expensive restaurant. 2. Diego, personal trainer, 28. 28 years old, my boyfriend. Fitness meeting at the zoo, two completely different men. Two completely different personalities from her. And apparently, neither of them suspected the other's existence. But folks, if you think the story stops there, you have no idea what was still to come. Because at 7 p.m., I was going to discover that there was a third man in this woman's life. And then, guys, things were going to get really complicated. Dude, my head was boiling. After witnessing that scene, at the zoo, I went back to the car completely disturbed. I sat in the driver's seat, turned on the AC, and stayed there, trying to process everything I had seen. Folks, in 15 years of marriage, I had never seen anything like it. Fernanda, my wife, can barely lie about eating the last piece of cake. Imagine doing what this Patricia was doing, deciding what to do. For a moment, I thought about leaving. Charles, I said to myself, what are you doing with your life? Go work, man. But then I remembered Fernando's face, all in love, buying flowers, calling her love of my life, and Diego, all silly, posing to impress his girlfriend. The guys had no idea they were being deceived. The rides in between. I decided to stay in the area and work normally until 7 p.m. Did about 6 rides in the meantime. But man, I couldn't stop thinking about the situation. On one of those rides, I picked up an elderly lady going to the doctor. In the middle of the trip, she said, "Son, you're very quiet today. Did something happen?" "No, ma'am, everything's fine. It's just that ... Do you believe someone can have 2 relationships at the same time?" "Oh, my son," she said, shaking her head. "That's no good. Someone who does that to one person does it to 2, and someone who does it to 2 can do it to 3. 3? At the time, I laughed at the hypothesis. How naive I was. 6:45 p.m. Wait, I arrived at Lincoln Park Zoo 15 minutes before 7 p.m. Parked in a good spot with a view of the piers entrance and waited. Dude, I was nervous. I didn't know exactly why, but I was. Maybe it was the anticipation of discovering more secrets from this crazy woman. 7 p.m. sharp, she appears. Punctually at 7 p.m., I saw her coming out of the zoo, but damn, she was different again. She came out alone. Where's Diego? Walking fast with that same nervous expression from the beginning of the day. And the strangest thing, she was wearing a third outfit. Now she wore black dress pants, white business, blouse, blazer over it, hair in a low bun, and reading glasses. She looked like an executive, a lawyer, I don't know. The third ride starts here. My phone rang with her ride request. I accepted, of course. She got in the car kind of breathless. "Hi, sorry if I'm a few minutes late. The show just ended." "Show? Hey, what about Diego?" I didn't ask anything, but I was curious. "No problem, ma'am. Where are we going now?" She checked her phone. "It's a bar in River North, Murphy's Pub, on North Wells Street." I knew the place. A fancy pub, one of those where beer costs $15, but the atmosphere is cool. Frequented by doctors, lawyers, businessmen. The most suspicious call yet. We barely left the zoo parking lot and her phone rang. She looked at the screen and smiled. A different smile from the others, more mature. I don't know how to explain it. "Hello, my love." Her voice changed again. This time it became more serious, more sophisticated. "Hi, darling. Sorry, I'm late. Had a meeting that ran over." "What do you mean, what meeting?" "With the investors for the new project." No. Of course I didn't forget our date. It's the most important moment of my week. Renato, you know I love you, right? Of course I want to marry you. December can't come soon enough. Renato? Marry in December? Dude, I almost hit the zoo fence. The woman had just left the aquarium with Diego, who she called her boyfriend after having lunch with Fernando, who she called her future husband, and now she was talking about December wedding with some Renato. The third transformation. While she was talking on the phone, here she came again with the magic bag, but this time the transformation was more subtle. She changed perfume. It was already the third different perfume of the day, touched up her makeup, let her hair looser, took off the small earrings and put on bigger, more elegant ones. Double quotes ... Okay, love, I'm almost there. Can't wait to tell you about the work news. Yes, about the promotion ... I'll tell you everything in person. Love you, my future husband. Future husband again? But 8 hours ago she had called Fernando the same thing. My head exploding. Folks, I swear I was starting to feel sick. It's not possible for a person to be able to lie so much, so naturally. "Ma'am," I couldn't help but ask, "can I ask a kind of indiscreet question?" She looked looked at me through the rearview mirror with a kind of suspicious face. What kind of question? It's just that ... Anyway, it's none of my business, but how many years have you been with your boyfriend? The question was a trap. I wanted to see which of the three she would mention. Oh ... She hesitated a few seconds. With Renato? It'll be 3 years this November. Why? Renato. So the third date was with Renato. Nothing, ma'am. It's just that you seem very happy. December wedding, right? Yes, she said, with a genuine smile. It's going to be in the countryside, a small ceremony, just family and close friends. The talk during the trip? Man, the conversation with her was surreal. She talked about the wedding with Renato with absurd naturalness, as if she hadn't just left the aquarium with another guy. You know, she said, it's hard to find a real man nowadays. Renato is a doctor, serious, responsible, wants to start a family, have children. It's everything I've always looked for in a man. Doctor. So the third one was a doctor. That's great, ma'am. And how did you two meet? At an investment lecture. I work in financial markets. He was interested in diversifying his investment. It was love at first sight. Works in financial markets? But in the morning she had told Fernando she had work problems when she was off. And to Diego she didn't mention any work. Arriving in River North. Traffic was smooth for a Saturday evening. In 25 minutes we arrived at Murphy's Pub. And folks, when we got there I saw an elegant man waiting at the door. Older than the other two, must have been about 50 years old, gray hair, business suit without tie, expensive watch, posture of a successful doctor. The third encounter, she got out of the car and the man, who was obviously Renato, came to meet her with a warm hug. My love. How was your work day? Busy, darling, but now that I'm with you, everything's perfect, she replied, snuggling into his chest. Come on, I reserved our favorite table. I have a surprise for you. What kind of surprise? She asked, all curious. You'll see, he said, kissing her forehead tenderly. The final observation. Before entering the bar, she came to pay for the ride. But this time, she took a little longer near the car window. Thank you once again. Do you have a time to stop working today? No, ma'am. I work late. Why? It's just that maybe I'll need another ride later. It might be very late, around 10, 11 p.m. Fourth ride? What was this? Woman going to do until 11 p.m.? Sure, ma'am. Call me through the app and I'll accept. Perfect. Thank you. Payment and tip. She paid through the app and gave the biggest tip of the day, $20. You're very professional, she said. Discreet, punctual ... I like working with people like that. Working? Strange word to use when talking about an app driver. My fateful decision. I left there with my head spinning. 3 men, 3 relationships, 3 different personalities from the same woman. Fernando, businessman. She was the elegant fiancée. Diego, personal trainer. She was the fitness girlfriend. Renato, doctor. She was the successful executive, and they all thought they were the only ones. Dude, I should have left. Should have forgotten that crazy story and gone home for dinner with Fernanda and the kids. But I couldn't. I stayed in the River North area, doing rides, but always keeping an eye on Murphy's Pub. I wanted to see how far this story would go. The bad feeling. Folks, you know when you feel something's going to go very wrong? I had that feeling since she mentioned the fourth ride. 3 dates in the same day, 3 different men, 3 elaborate lies. What else did this woman have planned for the night? And worse, what was I going to do with everything I was discovering? Folks, 10:30 p.m. I was there in River North, had just dropped off a couple on Rush Street when my phone rang. It was her again, the ride I was expecting and at the same time dreading. Dude, I won't lie. I was anxious to know what else this woman was going to pull. 3 dates in the same day was already surreal, but 4? This was turning into movie stuff. 4th call. I arrived at Murphy's Pub and saw her coming out, but this time, man, she had a different look on her face. It wasn't that nervousness from the other encounters anymore. It was like satisfaction, a smile on her face that I hadn't seen before. And where's Dr. Renato? She came. Out alone again, getting in the car. The surprise? Good evening, she said, getting in the car in a very good mood. Sorry I took longer than expected. No problem, ma'am. How was dinner? Oh ... double quotes. She sighed. Happy. It was perfect. Renato gave me an incredible surprise. That's great. Can I ask what it was? She showed her left hand with a giant engagement ring. He proposed to me, officially now. Dude, I almost crashed the car. The woman had just gotten an engagement ring from the third guy of the day, the mysterious destination. And now where are we going? I asked, still shocked by the ring. Oh, ... She got kind of mysterious. It's a kind of different address. A hotel downtown, the Palmer House Hilton. Hotel? 10:30 p.m. alone at an expensive hotel? Hotel? I couldn't hide the surprise. It's just that ... She hesitated. I have how can I explain, a very important work meeting. Work meeting at a hotel? Saturday night? Folks, even I who am naive knew that wasn't a work meeting at all. The strangest call of all ... Leaving River North heading downtown, her phone rang. She looked at the screen and made an expression I had never seen. Kind of malicious. Kind of, I don't know, predatory. Hello, hottie? Her voice changed completely. It became like sensual, husky. Hi, my sexy man. I'm almost there. What do you mean, am I sure? Of course I am. You know, I'm crazy about you ... No. Nobody's going to suspect anything. My husband thinks I'm at my sister's house. What sister? Carla, you know her. No, relax. She always covers for me. Husband's? Sister? Folks, I was so shocked I almost took the wrong turn on State Street. The bombshell revelation. ... Yeah, honey. It's going to be our last night before I travel. What do you mean where? To Miami, remember? Honeymoon ... No, it's not with you, silly. It's with the sucker who gave me this ring here. Ha, stop being jealous. When I get back, we'll see. Each other ... Kiss. My hot stuff. Sucker who gave the ring? She was talking about Dr. Renato. Dude, I was so disturbed that I stopped at the first red light and stared at her through the rearview mirror, trying to understand if it was the same person. The fourth transformation. And here she came again with the bag, but this time it was the most radical transformation of all. She took off the business blazer, took off the white blouse, and, folks, I won't go into details, but she put on something very ... let's say, provocative. Like nightclub style, you know? She let her hair down completely, put on very strong red lipstick, sprayed a perfume totally different from the other three, put on huge earrings. In 15 minutes, the serious executive became a femme fatale, my indignation exploding. Dude, I couldn't take it. I stopped at a speed bump and turned to her. Ma'am, can I ask a very direct question? What kind of question? She said, without stopping her makeup. How many men are you deceiving? Total silence in the car. She stopped putting on makeup and looked at me through the rearview mirror with a look I'll never forget. It wasn't anger. It wasn't shame ... It was like ... pure coldness. The dialogue that changed everything. Listen here, driver. Her voice became icy. I pay for your rides, not for your comments. Ma'am, excuse me, but I witnessed you with 3 different men today, all thinking they're the only ones ... So what? So what? The woman asked so what with complete naturalness. How so what? These guys are being deceived. Fernando, Diego, Renato. When I said the names, she went pale. How do you know their names? Ma'am, I've been driving for 4 years. I listen, I see, and today I saw something I never thought was possible. The partial confession. She was quiet for a few minutes, then sighed and said, okay, you found out. So what now? What are you going to do? I don't know, ma'am, but these men don't deserve this. Look, she leaned forward. You don't understand anything about my life. Each of them gives me something different. Fernando gives me financial security. Diego makes me feel young and desired. Renato gives me social respectability. And the fourth one? I asked, referring to the hotel meeting. She smiled in a way that gave me chills. Marcelo gives me what none of the other 3 can give ... pleasure. The indecent proposal. Listen, she continued, you seem like a smart guy. How? About we make a deal? What kind of deal? She opened her purse and took out a $500 bill. You forget everything you saw today, and I guarantee that whenever I need a driver, I'll call you, with generous tips. Dude, $500 was almost what I made in a full day of work, but I looked at that bill and thought about Fernanda, my kids, the values I tried to teach them ... My answer, ma'am, keep that money. I won't accept it. Why? Because I have a wife I've loved for 15 years. I have 2 kids who look at me like a hero, and if someday someone did to Fernanda what you're doing to these men, I'd want someone to tell me. She put the money away with a look of contempt. You're a romantic idiot. Maybe, but I'm a romantic idiot who sleeps with a clear conscience. Arriving at the hotel ... The rest of the trip was in total silence. We arrived at the Palmer House Hilton at 11:15 p.m. At the hotel door, a young guy, must have been about 30 years old, handsome, well-dressed, was waiting. When she got out of the car, he came running. "Patty, I missed you, my love." "Hi, hottie. Sorry I'm late." And there they went kissing at the hotel door in front of everyone. The tense payment. She came back to pay for the ride through the app. This time there was no tip. "Thank you for the services," she said, dryly. "Ma'am," I said, before she closed the door, "don't you think these men have the right to know the truth?" She looked at me with hatred. "The truth? The truth is that men are, all the same, liars, selfish, unfaithful. I'm just playing their game, but playing it better. Not all men are like that. All of them. Including you, who's here judging my life instead of taking care of your own." And she slammed the car door in my face. The end of the craziest night. Folks, I left there completely shaken. Not because of her insults, but because of everything I had witnessed. 4 men being deceived simultaneously. 4 lives that would be destroyed when the truth came out. And the worst part, I knew everything, but didn't know what to do with this information. I went home thinking, should I tell someone? Was it my business? Did these men want to know the truth, even if it hurt? The decision that would change everything... I got home at 12:30 a.m. Fernanda was waiting up. "How was your day, honey?" "Different," I said. "Very different." Did something happen? I looked at my wife, at our simple but honest home, at the pictures of our kids on the wall, and I made a decision that would change many people's lives. But that, folks, is a story for the next chapter. Sunday morning, the conversation with Fernanda... Folks, I spent the whole night awake. I couldn't stop thinking about those 4 men being deceived. Fernando with the flowers, Diego all silly posing, Dr. Renato giving an expensive ring. At 7 a.m., Fernanda woke up and found me in the kitchen having my 3rd coffee. "Charles, what happened yesterday? You look terrible." So I told her everything, every detail, every lie, every transformation Patricia made. Fernanda was speechless. My God, 4 at the same time? How does she manage it? That's the thing, honey. And now I don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know? You have to tell these men. But will they want to know? What if they think I'm lying? Fernanda looked at me with that "my husband is sometimes a bit slow" face. "Charles, if it were you being deceived, wouldn't you want to know?" The decision. I'm a DE. That's when it hit me. Of course I'd want to know. Any decent man would want to know. "You're right, honey. I'm going to tell them." "But how?" "You don't have their contact info." "I have an idea... Monday, a crazy plan." Monday morning, I had a plan in my head. Crazy, but it could work. I called my cousin Julian, who works as a private investigator. "Jules, I need a favor. I need to find 3 guys in Chicago with just their names and some characteristics." "Charles, what's this about?" I told him the story briefly. He was shocked. "Dude, this is a police matter." "Not yet, man. First, I want to try to resolve it peacefully, the investigation." Julian is amazing at what he does. In 2 days, he sent me complete information on the 3 guys. Fernando Augusto Silva, 45 years old, construction businessman, office on Michigan Avenue. Instagram, at Fernando Silva _construction. Diego Martins Costa, 28 years old, personal trainer and fitness influencer. Gym in Lincoln Park. Instagram, at Diego M. Effett, 120K followers. Dr. Renato Alves Pereira, 52 years old, cardiologist, clinic in Gold Coast. Instagram, at Dr.Renato Cardiologist. Dude, when I saw that Diego had 120,000 followers on Instagram, I thought, man, when this bomb explodes, it's going to be a national scandal. The plan getting refined? I could simply send a message on Instagram to each one, but who would believe a random Uber driver? They'd think I was crazy, a liar, or worse, a blackmailer. I needed proof. And then I had the brilliant idea, if I may say so myself, what if I could get all of them in the same place? Wednesday, execution part 1. I created a fake Instagram profile at truth_Chicago, put a generic photo and started following the 3 guys. I sent the same message to all of them. "Hello? I have very important information about Patricia Santos, who I believe you know. This is not blackmail. I don't want money. I just want you to know the truth before it's too late. If you're interested, respond to this message." The reactions. The first to respond was Diego. Influencers respond fast. "Who are you? How did you get this contact? What information?" Dr. Renato took a day, but responded responded, I don't know who you are, but if you have something important about my fiancé, I want to know. Let's talk. Fernando was the most suspicious. This smells like a scam. If you have something against Patricia, speak up or leave me alone. Convincing them. I sent a second more detailed message to each one with specific information that only someone who knew her routine would know. To Diego, she met you last Saturday at Lincoln Park Zoo. You went to the aquarium. She wore fitness clothes. To Dr. Renato, you had dinner at Murphy's Pub Saturday. You gave her an engagement ring. To Fernando, you had lunch at the Capitol Grill Saturday. You brought her pink roses. Dude, after these messages, all three were desperate to know what I had to say. The meeting. Arranged. I proposed a neutral meeting. A coffee shop in Wicker Park Thursday at 7 p.m. Come alone. I'll explain everything. Bring your phones. You'll need to see some things. Thursday, 7 p.m. The coffee shop ... Folks, I arrived at the coffee shop at 6:30 p.m., nervous as hell. I chose a table in the back, ordered coffee, and waited. 6:50 p.m., Dr. Renato arrived. Business suit, serious face, looking around. 6:55 p.m., Fernando arrived. Casual clothes, but looking annoyed. 7:05 p.m., Diego arrived. Gym clothes, cap, sunglasses. When they saw each other, it was funny and tense at the same time. Each one looked at the other like, what's this guy doing here? The introduction? I waved for them to come to my table. When they sat down, I made the introduction. Good evening, guys. Thanks for coming. I'm Charles, Uber driver. Uber driver? Fernando said, already kind of irritated. What kind of joke is this? Calm down, Fernando. Let me explain. You three know Patricia Santos, right? I do, said Dr. Renato. She's my fiancée. How your fiancée? Diego exploded. She's been my girlfriend for 8 months. Wait. Fernando stood up from his chair. What talk is this? Patricia is my fiancée. We're getting married in March. The moment of truth? Dude, when the three said that at the same time, things started to click. They looked at each other with an expression I'll never forget. First confusion, then suspicion, then ... horror. Gentlemen, I said, trying to stay calm. Sit down, please. I'm going to tell you exactly what I saw last Saturday. And then, folks, I told them everything. Every ride, every transformation, every phone call, every lie. The reactions exploding. Diego was the first to freak out. What? She had lunch with you at 12 p.m.? Looking at Fernando. Impossible. She was with me from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. she was with me, shouted Dr. Renato. And then she went to meet a fourth guy? Fernando was pale. No ... it's not possible ... she loves me. She said I'm the love of her life. She told me the same thing. Diego slammed his fist on the table. Me too. Dr. Renato was red with anger. The evidence starts appearing. Gentlemen, there's more, I said. You can verify. Diego, did you post a photo with her Saturday? He checked his phone. I posted. Stories from the aquarium ... shit, it's here. Fernando, do you have a photo of her at the restaurant? I do. He showed his phone, looking like he was seeing a ghost. Dr. Renato, the ring you gave her ... double quotes cost $50,000, he murmured in shock. The most tense moment. Suddenly, Diego's phone rang. He looked at the screen. It's her. Patricia is calling me. Answer it. I said, but put it on speaker. He answered, hello, love. Hi, my champion. How are you? I miss you ... The other two listened to her voice in total shock. Hi, Patty. Listen, where are you now? I'm at home, my love. Why? And ... Are you alone? Of course, baby. Always alone when I'm not with you. Why these strange questions? The lie lived. At that moment, Dr. Renato's phone rang. It was Patricia, too. He showed the screen to everyone silently. Diego, are you there? She continued on the phone. I'm here. Good. I wanted to know if you're free tomorrow morning. I wanted to train with you ... That's when Dr. Renato couldn't take it and shouted, you're calling two at the same time? You ... The line went. Dead ... Diego hung up the phone quickly, but it was too late. She had heard. We all sat in silence for about 30 seconds, until Fernando spoke with a voice I'll never forget. Son of a bitch, she's playing with us ... double quotes, the revenge pack ... And it was at that moment, folks, that three completely different men, a businessman, a personal trainer, and a doctor, united for a common cause, to discover the whole truth about Patricia Santos and make her pay for everything. The atmosphere after the CALL, folks, was When that call dropped, the silence in the coffee shop was deadly. The three men looked at each other, processing what had just happened. Dr. Renato was the first to speak. Gentlemen, I think we need something stronger than coffee. We ordered 3 beers and a Coke. I was still working, and then began the most intense venting session I've ever witnessed in my life. Fernando breaks down first. Fernando, who until then was trying to maintain his tough businessman pose, started talking. Dude, I've been with her for a year and a half. I met her at a law school graduation party. She said she was a newly graduated lawyer. Liar. Diego interrupted. She told me she was a sports nutritionist. Nutritionist? It was Dr. Renato's turn. She told me she worked in financial markets, that she was an investment analyst. Dude, each revelation was a bigger bomb than the last. The lies accumulating. Fernando continued. She said her parents died in an accident, that she was an orphan, had no family. Lie, Diego exploded. She introduced me to her mother, Mrs. Conception, a super nice lady who lives in Wicker Park. Wicker Park? Dr. Renato was getting red. She took me to her parents' house in Naperville. I met her father, mother, even the family dog. Folks, at that moment I had to intervene. Guys, don't you see? She invented different families for each of you. Diego tells his version. Diego, who was more shaken than the others, maybe, because he was younger, started talking. Dude, I was even thinking about leaving my influencer career for her. She said she wanted us to open a gym together, that she would invest the money. What money? Fernando asked. The money from her parents' inheritance. She said she had received a $2 million inheritance. Fernando and Dr. Renato looked at each other. Diego, said Dr. Renato, she asked me for $300,000 last month. Said she was going to invest in a startup and pay me back in 6 months with interest. Loan? Fernando slammed his fist on the table. She asked me for $500,000. Said it was to buy an apartment where we would live after the wedding. Things clicking. Dude, when they started adding up the amounts, things got sinister. Fernando, $500,000 plus engagement ring, $80,000. Equals $580. Zero. Dr. Renato, $300,000 plus engagement ring, $50,000. Equals $350,000. Diego, $150,000. Gym plus miscellaneous expenses equals $150,000 total. Over $1 million. Man, I said, this woman isn't just a heartbreaker. She's a professional con artist. Dr. Renato reveals the worst. Dr. Renato, who until then was more contained, exploded. There's one more thing you guys need to know. He stopped, took a deep breath. She's pregnant. Total silence. What do you mean pregnant? Fernando and Diego shouted at the same time. She told me last week. Saad, we were expecting our first child. That's why I proposed to her Saturday. Double quotes. Diego went pale. Dude, she told me the same thing 15 days ago. Said she was pregnant with our baby. Fernando stood up from his chair. Nitrogen monoxide way. She told me that yesterday. Even sent a photo of the pregnancy test via WhatsApp. The investigation deepened. At that moment, Fernando had an idea. Guys, let's compare WhatsApp conversations. I want to see how far this farce goes. They put their phones on the table and started showing the conversation. Folks, it was terrifying. The messages were practically identical, just changing. The names, to Fernando, my love. Can't wait for our family to be complete. To Diego, baby. Our baby is going to be beautiful like daddy. To Dr. Renato, darling, how happy I am to be pregnant by the man of my life. The fake photos? The worst part, she had sent the same pregnancy test photo to all three, just changing the angle. Dude, said Diego, this woman is a monster. My theory being confirmed. Guys, I interrupted, you want to know my theory? She chose you three, strategically. How so? Asked Dr. Renato. Fernando, you're a successful businessman. She wanted your money and social status. Diego, you're young, handsome, an influencer. She wanted to feel desired and have visibility on social media. Dr. Renato, you're a respected doctor. She wanted respectability and security for when she got older. And the fourth guy, Marcelo from the hotel, I thought for a moment, that one was just for fun. For her, you were investments. He was just pleasure. The revenge plan is born. Fernando, who obviously had business experience, took the lead. Guys, we can do two things. Either go to the police now, or teach her a lesson first. What kind of lesson? Asked Diego. The kind she'll never forget. And that will serve as an an example to other con artists like her. Dr. Renato, who was quieter, said, I agree. She played with the feelings of decent men. She has to pay. Friday, the plan forms. They arranged to meet Friday to come up with a detailed plan. They invited me to participate. Charles, you were the one who discovered everything. You're part of this now. Dude, I knew I was getting into something complicated, but indignation was stronger than fear. The Friday meeting, we met at a bar in River North. They had already talked among themselves and arrived with an elaborate plan. The idea is simple, Fernando explained. Each of us will schedule a date with her at the same place, same time. And then? I asked. Then, we'll confront her in front of everyone. With evidence, with witnesses, with everything. Diego added, and we'll film everything. She wants to be famous? Then she'd be famous for the wrong reasons. The plan details ... Renato had thought of everything. Next Saturday, 7 p.m., Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse downtown. Public place full of people with security. Each one schedules with her with a different excuse. Engagement party, pregnancy celebration, romantic dinner. We arrived together, with Charles filming discreetly. Fernando completed, and we bring all the evidence, screenshots of conversations, bank transfer receipts, photos of the rings. My role in the revenge ... Charles, said Dr. Renato, you would be our driver that day, and our main witness. Witness for what? Because after the confrontation, we're going straight to the police station to file a report for sentimental fraud and criminal conspiracy. Dude, when he mentioned criminal conspiracy, a chill ran down my spine. You think she's not alone in this? Fernando shook his head. An operation of this scale, with fake families, documents, apartments, she has to have a structure behind her. The bad feeling. Folks, I left that bar with a strange feeling. On one hand, I was satisfied that justice would be done. On the other hand, I was afraid things would get out of control. But what worried me most was a question that wouldn't shut up. If she managed to deceive 3 intelligent men for so long ... what else was she capable of when she discovered she'd been found out? Saturday approaching ... the week flew by. The 3 guys stayed in constant contact, refining every detail of the plan. Friday night, Fernando called me. Charles, tomorrow is the day. Are you ready? I am, I replied, but inside I was nervous as hell. And Charles ... thank you. Without you, we never would have found out. You're welcome, Fernando. See you tomorrow. I hung up the phone and looked at Fernanda. Honey, tomorrow is going to be a complicated day. It'll be fine, sweetheart. You're doing the right thing. But folks, if I had known what was going to happen that Saturday ... If I had known what Patricia had prepared when she discovered she was cornered ... maybe I would have given up on everything. Saturday, the day of truth. Folks, I woke up at 6 a.m. with a knot in my stomach. It was confrontation day. Fernanda made strong coffee and kept looking at me worried. Honey, are you sure this is a good idea? Too late to back out now, love. The guys already arranged everything with her, and it was true. During the week, each one had confirmed the meeting with Patricia. Fernando said it was to celebrate a business deal. Diego made up that it was their dating anniversary. Dr. Renato said it was dinner to celebrate the pregnancy, all for the same place, Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse downtown, 7 p.m., 4:30 p.m. I met the 3 at a diner near the restaurant. Dude, they were nervous but determined. Each one brought a folder with documents. Fernando showed the transfer receipts, $500,000 in 3 installments. Diego had screenshots of conversations about the $2 million inheritance and photos of her at the gym he paid for. Dr. Renato brought the $50,000 ring, receipt and fake medical exam she had shown of the pregnancy. The final briefing. Guys, Fernando said, let's review the plan one last time. 6:50 p.m., Charles parks in front of the T restaurant. 6:55 p.m., each one arrives through a different entrance and sits at a separate table. 7 p.m., when she arrives, whoever she greets first gives the signal. 7:05 p.m., everyone gets up at the same time and goes to her table. Charles films everything discreetly from outside. It sounded like an action movie, but I had a bad feeling. 6:45 p.m., position taken. I parked the car in front of Gibson's and stayed watching. The movement was normal for a Saturday night. Families dining, couples on dates dates, nothing unusual. I saw the three entering. Fernando through the main entrance, Diego through the side, Dr. Renato through the parking lot. My phone vibrated. Message in the WhatsApp group they created. Fernando, position taken. Table 12. Diego, table 7, all set. Dr. Renato, table 15, waiting. 7:05 p.m., she arrives. A black Uber stopped in front of the restaurant. She got out, red elegant dress, loose hair, flawless makeup. She looked like a TV actress. She entered the restaurant and, dude, something happened that nobody expected. The first sign of problems, instead of going straight to some table, she stood at the reception looking around, like she was searching for something or someone. My phone rang. It was a call from Fernando. Charles, something's wrong here. What happened? She's been at the reception for 5 minutes, but hasn't come to any table. She's just observing. Observing what? US, dude. I think she suspected. The terrifying discovery. Suddenly, I saw Patricia take her phone and make a call. And then, folks, the scariest thing of the night happened. 4 men entered the restaurant at the same time. Big guys, in suits, like security or thugs. And they went straight to Fernando's, Diego's and Dr. Renato's tables. Fernando, I screamed into the phone, get out of there now. There are 4 guys heading your way. Chaos ensues. From outside, I saw the movement inside the restaurant turning into pandemonium. People started getting up from tables, waiters running. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. It was Diego. Charles, the guys got US. We can't get out. What? What do you mean they got you? They blocked the exit. And Patricia ... Dude, she's laughing. She knew everything. The shocking revelation. I got out of the car and got closer to the restaurant window. And then I saw a scene that left me frozen. Patricia was in the middle of the dining room with the biggest smile on her face, saying something to the 3. And they were sitting, each one with a thug beside them. It didn't seem like physical violence, but it was clearly intimidation. The call that changed everything. My phone rang, unknown number. Hello? Charles? Uber driver? It was Patricia's voice. How did you get my number? Sweetie, you think I didn't know you guys were planning this pathetic little ambush? Dude, my blood ran cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh no? Then why are you outside? The restaurant with your phone in your hand? I looked at the window. She was looking at me and waving with that diabolic smile. The direct threat. Listen here, Charles. You and your little friends think you're very smart, don't you? Investigation on Instagram. Meeting at the coffee shop. ... You're amateurs. How did you know about all this? Because I let you find out. You think an operation of my level doesn't have security? Doesn't have control? Man, at that moment I understood. We had fallen into a trap. The truth behind the truth. Patricia, what do you want? What I always wanted. Money. But now, instead of getting it gradually, I'm going to get it all at once. How? Your little friends there already transferred another $200,000 each to my account. Let's say it was the price of silence. Silence about what? About the crimes they didn't commit, but that will seem like they did if certain evidence reaches the police ... double quotes, the scam within the scam. Folks, that's when I understood the diabolic play. She hadn't been discovered by accident. She wanted to be discovered. The plan was to make the guys unite, get angry, try revenge. And then she'd turn the tables, making them the criminals. Patricia, what evidence is this? Oh, Charles. Suspicious transfers, compromising messages, even some interesting audios of you guys planning to make her pay single quotes ... She had recorded our conversations. The final proposal. Listen, sweetie, you have 2 options. Come into the restaurant now and apologize for all this nonsense. Or tomorrow morning the police will receive a complete dossier about a gang that tried to blackmail and extort me. That's a lie. A lie? With audios, photos, bank transfers as proof? Who do you think the police will believe? A respected businesswoman who was a victim of blackmail? Or an Uber driver and 3 desperate men? The hardest decision. Dude, I stood there on the sidewalk with my phone in my hand, seeing through the window the 3 men I had helped bring together being humiliated inside the restaurant. Charles, you have 30 seconds to decide. Either come in there and we forget this little game, or tomorrow you 4 will be explaining to the police why you tried to set up a trap against an innocent woman. The forced entry. Folks, I had no choice. I entered the restaurant. When I got near the table where they were, the scene was depressing. Fernando with his head down, Diego looking like he was about to, cried Dr. Renato shaking with rage. Look who's here. Patricia said, loud loud for the whole restaurant to hear. Charles, good thing you came to apologize too. Apologize? In front of everyone? Patricia ... I started to say, no, speak loud. I want everyone to hear how you guys apologize for trying to defame me. The public humiliation. And that's when, folks, one of the most humiliating things in my life happened. In front of a full restaurant, I had to apologize to a con artist for having made up stories about her. Fernando, Diego, and Dr. Renato did the same thing. People around were looking, whispering, some even filming. The end of the nightmare. After the public humiliation, she got up from the table. There. Now you've learned not to mess with people you shouldn't. And remember, if I hear any gossip about me, you know what the consequence will be. She left the restaurant like a queen, leaving 4 destroyed men behind. Leaving the restaurant, when we finally managed to get out of there, the 4 of us stood on the sidewalk in total silence. Fernando was the first to speak. Dude, we really screwed up. How much did you guys transfer to her? I asked. $200,000 each, replied Dr. Renato. She showed some compromising photos, some audios, said if we didn't pay, she'd go to the police and report us for attempted extortion. The final tally, doing the math. Fernando, $700,000 total. Dr. Renato, $550,000 total. Diego, $350,000 total. Total, $1.6 million. And the worst part, she had gotten all this by making them the criminals. The bitterest lesson, folks, I left that night with a lesson I'll never forget. Sometimes, when you think you figured out someone's game, you're actually the one being played. Patricia wasn't just a common con artist. She was a master manipulator who was always 3 steps ahead of us. And the worst part, we'd never be able to prove the truth again. Sunday morning, the call that changed everything. Folks, after that night at the restaurant, I thought the story was over. That Patricia had won and we'd have to swallow that humiliation for the rest of our lives. I got home destroyed, told Fernanda everything. She was outraged. Charles, this can't stay like this. This woman is a monster. Honey, there's nothing we can do. She has us in her hands. If we say anything, she shows those audios to the police and we're screwed. But then, Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m., my phone rings with a ride request. I look at the address. It was Patricia's house. The risky decision. Dude, my first reaction was to decline the ride. After what had happened, I didn't want to see that woman's face anymore. But then I thought, what if it's her needing to go somewhere? I might discover something else. Curiosity got the better of me. I accepted the ride. Arriving at her house, folks, when I arrived at Patricia Street, I almost crashed the car. At her house door, there were 3 men, arguing loudly. And they weren't the thugs from Saturday, no. They were Fernando, Diego, and Dr. Renato. What had happened? I stopped the car a few meters before the house and stayed watching. The 3 were visibly agitated, gesticulating, pointing at the house. My phone rang. It was Fernando. Charles, good thing you came. We need you. Fernando, how did you guys get here? Dude, something happened last night that changed everything. The social media discovery. I got out of the car and approached the 3. Diego had his phone in his hand, showing something to the others. Charles, you won't believe what happened, he said, all excited. What was it? Dr. Renato explained. Last night, after that humiliation at the restaurant, I was at home, bummed out, right? So I decided to stalk Patricia's Instagram to try to understand something ... And then I saw that Fernando had liked a photo of hers. The fatal connection. Fernando continued the story. When I saw that Dr. Renato had liked it too, I found it strange. I went to his profile and saw he had commented on an old photo of hers. Beautiful, my love, with a heart emoji. So I thought, wait, this guy knows my fiancé? Diego completed, and I, who follow both on Instagram because of fitness, Dr. Renato posts about health, Fernando about business motivation, saw the comments and thought, these guys are talking about my girlfriend, the Discovery WhatsApp group. So we made a WhatsApp group, Fernando explained, and started comparing the photos each of us had with her. They showed me their phone. Dude, it was surreal. They had dozens of photos with Patricia. Fernando at the same fancy restaurant several times, Diego at the gym, at the beach, at concerts, Dr. Renato at medical events, family dinners, the devastating discoveries. And then, Charles, Dr. Renato said with a trembling voice, we started adding up how much each of us spent on her ... How much was it? I asked, already imagining the worst. Fernando sighed deeply. Me, $800,000 total. Down payment on apartment, car, trips, jewelry, everything she asked, saying it was for our future. Diego swallowed hard. Me, $400,000. Nose and breast surgery. Premium gym for 2 years. Clothes, supplements, ... She said she wanted to get prettier for me. Dr. Renato was almost crying. Me, $650,000. Her BMW, Rolex, beach apartment, premium health plan. I thought I was investing in our family. The scary total. Guys, I quickly did the math. You spent almost $2 million on this woman, $1,850,000 to be exact, Fernando confirmed, not counting what we paid last night in the blackmail ... Dude, at that moment I felt a hatred for this woman that I had never felt for anyone in my life. The collective decision. And now? I asked. The three looked at each other with a determination I had never seen. Now we're going to confront her, said Dr. Renato. No thugs, no blackmail, nothing, just the truth. And how do you know she's home? Diego showed his phone. Instagram stories. She posted 20 minutes ago, lazy Sunday at home. The confrontation strategy. Fernando, who always led the group, explained the plan. Simple. We're going to knock on the door, go in together, and demand explanations. And this time, Charles, you come with us. You're a witness to everything. Dude, I don't know if it's a good idea. Charles, Dr. Renato looked me in the eyes. You were the one who discovered this farce. Without you, we'd never know the truth. You're part of this now. Walking to the door, the four of us walked to the door. A beautiful house, upper middle class, electric gate, well-kept garden. All paid with their money, probably. Fernando rang the doorbell. The voice through the intercom ... Who is it? It was Patricia's voice, still with that sweet tone she used with each of them. It's me, Fernando. I need to talk to you. Fernando? My love, what are you doing here? We didn't have anything scheduled ... double quotes. Patricia, open the door, please. There was a pause. Then, okay, I'm coming. The door opens. When the door opened, folks, Patricia's face was priceless. She expected to see only Fernando, but saw all four. Fernando, Diego, Dr. Renato, and me. Her expression changed instantly, from surprise to suspicion, from suspicion to fear, from fear to ... anger. What ... What's happening here? She stammered. The forced entry. Fernando didn't wait for an invitation. He gently pushed the door and entered, followed by the other three. Patricia, we need to talk. Talk about what? Fernando, you're scaring me. That's when Diego spoke up. Hi, princess. Remember me? Her face went white, and Dr. Renato completed, and me, my love, your future husband? The moment of truth. Patricia stood in the middle of the living room, looking at the four men who had discovered her scheme. I can explain ... Explain what? Diego exploded. That you're dating three guys at the same time? That you asked me for $300,000 when you had already gotten an apartment from him? He pointed at Fernando. That you accepted to marry me when you already had two fiancés? Dr. Renato was shaking with rage. The desperate attempts at explanation ... Patricia tried to maintain composure. Guys, you're not understanding. I can explain everything ... Then explain. The three shouted at the same time. She took a deep breath and started, okay, you want to know the truth? The truth is that ... I didn't want to hurt anyone ... Didn't want to hurt? Fernando was beside himself. You stole $800,000 from me. The pathetic defense. Fernando, you gave me that money out of love. I never asked. Lie. You asked for the apartment down payment. Said it was going to be OURS. And to me, Diego interrupted, you said the surgery was to get prettier for our wedding. And I, Dr. Renato had a choked voice, bought your car thinking it would be my wife's car. The most shocking revelation. That's when she dropped the bomb. Okay, you want to know the complete truth? You three are suckers. The silence in the room was sepulchral. You think you were the only ones? Think you were special? Dude, when she said that, I felt a chill down my spine. The full confession. Fernando, you think you were the first rich businessman who supported me? You're the fourth. Diego, you think you were the first fitness guy who gave me money for surgery? There were 5 more before you. Renato, you think you were the first doctor who bought me a car? There were 3. Folks, when she said that, the 3 men were in total shock. The scary numbers ... I've been doing this for 8 years. years. She continued, now not caring about anything. You think 2 million is a lot? I've already taken more than 15 million from men like you. 15 million? I couldn't hold back. That's right, driver. 15 million. Businessmen, doctors, lawyers, congressmen. All the same. Fragile egos, needy, willing to pay anything for a beautiful woman who pretends to love them. The final cruelty. And then she said the phrase I'll never forget. The difference between you and a prostitute is that a prostitute is at least honest about what she does. You pay to feel special, to feel like you deserve to have a woman like me, but the truth is you're just a TMs with legs. The men's reaction. Fernando started crying. A 45-year-old man, successful businessman, crying like a child. Diego punched the wall and ran out of the house. Dr. Renato stood there, looking at her with an expression that mixed hatred and despair. The last attempt. Patricia, Dr. Renato said with a broken voice, I really loved you. I thought you loved me too, ... She laughed in his face. Love? You? A 50-year-old man who thinks he can buy love with BMWs and Rolexes. Please. The devastating exit. It was at that moment that the three men understood there was nothing left to do. Fernando stopped crying, wiped his face, and said, Patricia, you're going to return every cent to us. And how are you going to force me? She challenged. Because Monday morning we three are going to the police station, and this time with all the evidence. Her final bluff. Oh yeah? And the compromising audios of you guys planning to hurt me? Forgot about those? That's when I had an inspiration. Patricia, you forgot one detail ... What detail? I filmed you confessing everything just now. I showed my phone. I had recorded the last 10 minutes of the conversation. Her face changed completely. The final turn. So here's the deal, Fernando said. Regaining his business composure, you have until Tuesday to return at least half of what you took from us. Otherwise, this video goes to the police, the district attorney, and the internet. And you can be sure, Dr. Renato completed, that we're going to investigate all the other men you deceived. It's going to be the biggest operation against sentimental fraud this country has ever seen. The final defeat. Patricia was quiet for a few seconds. Then she said, with a tired voice, you don't know who you're messing with ... No, I interrupted. You don't know who you messed with. You messed with 4 men who won't rest until they see justice done. The winner's exit. We left the house in silence. Outside, on the sidewalk, the 4 of us stood for a few minutes, processing everything that had happened. Fernando was the first to speak. Charles, thank you so much. Without you, we never would have gotten here. It's nothing, Fernando. Sometimes we need to unite against people like her. The unexpected union. Diego, who had come back after running out, said, Dude, I know the situation sucks, but somehow I feel better knowing I wasn't the only idiot. Dr. Renato smiled for the first time in days. You're right. Shared pain is easier to bear. The final pact ... So it's decided, said Fernando. Monday, police station. United. The other 2 confirmed. And I, who had started this story as a simple Uber driver, ended up as part of a group that was going to see justice done. The end of a chapter. Folks, when I left there that Sunday, I knew I had witnessed the end of an era in that woman's life. But what I didn't know is that Monday would bring even bigger surprises. And that Patricia's story was far from over. But that, my friends, is talk for the next chapter. 1 month later, what happened to Patricia ... Folks, a month after that confrontation at Patricia's house, you must be curious to know what happened to her, right? Well, I'm going to tell you it was a real free fall. One of those where the person can't get back up anymore. Monday at the police station. As agreed, Monday morning I met the 3 men at the door of the 2nd General Investigations Division here in Chicago. Dude, I never thought I'd step into a police station to file a report, especially for sentimental fraud. The Detective Johnson, a serious man, about 50 years old, was speechless when he heard the story. In 20 years of police work, I've never seen a case like this. A woman deceiving 3 men simultaneously for so long. The evidence was irrefutable. Fernando brought a folder with documents that looked more like a legal case. Transfer receipts, apartment contracts, car receipts, jewelry invoices. Diego brought screenshots of conversations, photos of the 2 of them together, receipts for gym and surgery payments. Dr. Renato presented bank statement, photos of the wedding that was being planned, even invitations that had already been ordered. Me. I brought the video of her confession and my detailed account of everything I witnessed. The investigation expanded. What we didn't expect was that when the detective started investigating thoroughly, he discovered the situation was much bigger than we imagined. "Gentlemen," he said on Wednesday, "you weren't the only ones. We found at least 8 more similar cases in the last 3 years." 8, dude. The woman had an industrial operation of love scams. The other cases appearing. Throughout the week, other men started showing up at the police station, each one with a similar story. A lawyer who lost $400,000, a dentist who financed a clinic for her, $600,000, an agribusiness entrepreneur who bought a farm in her name, $1.20 million, even a city councilman who diverted public funds to pay for her luxuries. The scary total ... When they added everything up, folks, Patricia had pulled scams worth more than $8 million from 11 different men. $8 million. That could buy 20 apartments, 50 cars. It was money for a lifetime. The empire falls, but as you know, a house built on lies doesn't stand for long, and Patricia's house collapsed quickly. Thursday, the arrest. Thursday morning, Fernando called me. Euphoric. "Charles, they arrested her. She's in jail." The police had gone to her house with an arrest warrant. She tried to escape through the back of the house, but they had already surrounded the block. Friday, losing everything. The judge ordered the seizure of all her assets. In one day, she lost the North Side apartment that was in her name but paid for by Fernando, the white BMW, gift from Dr. Renato, the convertible Audi, gift from the lawyer who appeared later, all the jewelry, over $300,000 in Rolex, Cartier, Tiffany ... closing parenthesis, bank accounts, had $180,000. Even the purebred dog she had gotten from one of the suckers. Second week, escape attempt. Her defense got a habeas corpus and she was released provisionally. But dude, the woman couldn't handle the pressure. In 3 days, neighbors said they saw a moving truck at her house. When police went to check on Saturday, the house was empty. She had fled. The national hunt. What she didn't expect was that the story had gone viral. Her case was on the news, TV, social media. Love con artist. Woman steals $8 million pretending to love 11 men. Dude, she became a national meme. People were making TikTok parodies about her. Stand-up comedy. 2 weeks later, captured. Police received an anonymous tip. She was in Miami, already trying to pull the same scam on a tourism businessman. When they went to arrest her, they discovered she had already gotten $150,000 from the poor guy in just 10 days of relationship. The trial. Her trial was a spectacle, folks. It packed the courthouse. There were even TV reporters. She appeared all humble, hair in a bun, no makeup, crying ... trying to play the victim. But when the 11 men testified, telling how she destroyed their lives, how they lost their savings, how they felt betrayed ... Dude, even the judge got emotional. The sentence, 12 years in prison for qualified fraud, criminal conspiracy, and money laundering. 12 years. The woman who thought she was smarter than everyone is going to spend a decade locked up. What happened to the men? Fernando managed to recover the apartment and part of the money. Today he's fine, remarried to an honest woman. Diego was depressed for a while, but went back to being successful on Instagram. He even made a series of posts about red flags in relationships that went viral. Dr. Renato was the one who suffered most. He was on medical leave for 2 months, went to therapy, but he also recovered. Today he's a speaker about emotional intelligence. And me, what I learned from all this, dude, this story changed my view on many things, especially about relationships and how people can be cruel when it comes to money. I learned that there are people in the world who have no limits, who are capable of destroying entire lives just to get rich. But I also learned that when good men unite, justice can be done. The lesson that remained, folks, if there's one thing this story taught me is that greed doesn't pay. Patricia could have had a good, honest life working, but she wanted more, always more. And you know what happens to those who want too much? They lose everything. She lost her freedom, lost her assets, lost her dignity, became a national laughingstock ... And why? Because of greed. Final reflection. Today when I tell this story to my kids, I always end by saying, my children, easy money doesn't exist. All easy money has a very high price. Sometimes you pay with your conscience, sometimes with your freedom, sometimes with your soul. Patricia Patricia paid with everything. The moral of the story, and that's why, folks, I always say honesty is the best business. It might seem like it takes longer, that the path is longer, that others are passing you by. But in the end, those who build on the foundation of truth, honest work, respect for people, they're the ones who have a life worth living. Closing our story, so that's it, people. True story, that happened to me. Uber driver for 4 years, family man, working man who believes character is worth more than money. If you take one lesson from this story, let it be this: no matter how tempting the offer, no matter how easy the path seems, life always collects the bill. And when it collects from those who act wrong, it collects with interest. And for you who are listening to me, if someday you encounter a suspicious situation with someone who seems too good to be true, remember Patricia's story. Investigate, question, be suspicious. Because sometimes a simple Uber driver's curiosity can save many people's lives. And remember, character can't be bought, sold, or negotiated. It's what you'll sleep peacefully with every night. Until next time, folks, and may this story serve as an example for everyone. Honesty always pays off. Hugs from Charles, Uber driver, defender of justice, and teller of real-life stories. End of story. She scheduled dates with 3 different men on the same day.